Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another Friday night chill stream here over at Calls. We are going to be covering some weekend golf, some round 3 showdown DFS slates for the Genesis Invitational. Looking forward to it. Hopefully everyone has had a very good, relaxing week. If not, you are ready to nerd out with some a little bit of music in the background and to a lot of statistics. I'm sure you heard the second regular to the stream making her presence known as soon as I went live, as she is apt to do. I am a little disorganized here a little bit. I just got home 30 minutes ago, so I have grabbed really as much data as I could and gotten it at least into Microsoft Excel, but I still have some maneuvering to do in terms of laying out my chat and everything to that effect. But hopefully you will bear with me as I begin to get the evening going. As you can see, I still have some formulas and stuff to fix here in Microsoft Excel. All of that. Hopefully your lineups are doing well for the Genesis Invitational. Mine have been pretty darn solid. I've had some pretty good recommendations and some pretty shit ones, to be honest with you. I'll be more than happy to go through my lineups with you all as they stand at the moment. But like I said, give me a moment as I get everything prepared, as I just got home 30 minutes or so ago. But feel free to jump in chat. Would love to hear from you all, how your lineups are going so far for the Genesis Invitational, how your week went, what you're looking forward to for this weekend, all that, just to kind of hang out, listen to some music, and get our math nerd on, if you will. So with that, I'm going to clean these glasses off here and start talking about weekend golf. And it's going to be a little difficult this evening as the Genesis still did not finish round 2. I believe a few players have maybe as many as 3 or 4 holes to play. But I think the featured groups, premier groups, have all finished. We know that Hideki, Matt Fitzpatrick, a few others are going to miss the cut. Tiger Woods looks like he's going to make the cut at +1. I really truly think that the cut will be at +1. So good to see for golf in that regard that Tiger is going to make the cut, seemingly, I would venture to say. But welcome to the stream. First thing I think I'm going to do, I'm going to show you my lineups and how they are doing over the full long week. So any lineup here in blue is a lineup that I submitted to use in a contest this week. And you can see my top performing lineup right now I actually used, thankfully. It's at 303 points, which is unfortunately not the lineup that I submitted for the big pitch and putt, because if that were the case, I would be making quite a bit of money right now. But that lineup clearly is doing well. I've got another very, very solid performing lineup, but you can see also I have chosen some pretty poor lineups of the ones that I've generated. There's my best. I've also got a very strong performer there. I believe those are my top 2 that I've chosen or submitted. But 14th best I submitted. That's the 3rd in the 90s that I've submitted. 4th best. So I'm very all or nothing right now. I've got actually 2 lineups that have been that would have 303 points. But the reason why I want to show this to you specifically is, as of right now, and again, I'm just going with the pitch and putt, but the pitch and putt right now is cashing at 233.5. So if I sort or I'm sorry, filter on all the lineups that I generated for the week that are over 233.5 at the moment. We'll just get a decent idea of the performance that I've had so far. So I would have 37 of the 100 lineups that I generated so far this week would be cashing in the big pitch and putt. 37%. I will never be upset about that. Obviously, you want as much as you can, but 37% certainly respectable. I'm going to close out of DraftKings before I do something stupid, make a mistake. But here are the specific lineups that I have, or that I submitted this week, and I do have 2 full 6 of 6s that are guaranteed all the way to make the cut. As I said, I am very confident that +1 will be the cut. If it does move to even, a lot of these lineups will get quite a bit worse with the propensity of Xander Schauffele that I have. But I truly do believe +1 will end up making the cut. So anyone in green is in the clubhouse at +1. You'll see a few players, Wyndham Clark, Kurt Kitayama. They are highlighted in a very light shade of blue. They are inside the cut line right now, but are not technically finished. So anything could happen tomorrow morning. And then the singletons of Nick Hardy and Beau Hossler are outside the cut and are yet to finish. So, I mean, they could make a big run, but more than likely they are going to be miscuts. So, this lineup is a 4-6 that's not performing all that well. This lineup's a 4-6 that's not performing all that well. But at the same time, I do have quite a few very, very solid lineups. Rahm, Cantlay, Kuchar, Hoagie performing very well for me. Let's see. There's another one, looks like probably Cantlay, Will Zalatoris, Kuchar. So, a mixed bag so far, but as of right now, I am positive in terms of return on investment for the Genesis. So, I'm excited for that. But that's my lineups at the moment. Let's move on over to Windfinder. And this is going to be very, very important for showdowns and weekend golf. You see here, this is the forecast for what's going, or for the next 2 days. I'll reload it, although I do think the next update is in about 30 minutes or so. I haven't updated this since probably like 3 o'clock this afternoon, so it did change. You see, tomorrow looks brilliant, looks fantastic for golf. High of 60, so a little bit chilly, but nothing to do with wind. So not anything in, or at least specifically to look at in terms of wind metrics. And the same kind of goes for Sunday. Now the Sunday morning might have a little bit of gust like they had this morning, but really, all in all, just kind of looking like you're looking at a pretty solid weekend for golf. I will keep that up. I've also got the leaderboard up. Last thing I want to do, and again, I have not been able to bring up every single tab that I've wanted. I'm going to bring up ESPN. I do want to see some course stats. Of course, I hit the schedule. I did not mean to do that. I do want to see some course statistics. See the second regular would like to announce her presence to the stream. Let's get a feel for how the course has played to this week compared to its regular or usual playing in terms of, say, holes that are difficult, easy, all of that stuff here. So let me get this situated for you. I'm hoping that it's not too scrunched. If it is, let me know in chat. and I will be more than happy to zoom in. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and zoom in here for you. Okay, so looking at Riviera, historically, hole 1 playing to 7/10 under par. Right now, it's playing to 2/3. Yeah, 7/10 under par. Right now, it's playing to 2/3 of a shot under par, so right around its career norm. Nothing out of the ordinary there. Do we see any major discrepancies? 0.15, 0.19, not really. Even par to 0.05, so a little bit tougher. 0.21, 0.25, no. That's right around its career. This is right at its career, essentially. Hole 7? Hole 7, playing a little bit easier this year so far in the first 2 days than it typically does. You see that it plays generally 2/100ths of a shot over par. Right now it's actually playing slightly under par. Okay. 8th is actually playing a little bit easier as well. Probably to do with the wind, as I've heard that the wind has been in a slightly different direction this year, and 8 is playing straight downwind. 9th, slightly easier. The 10th, playing a little more difficult, but nothing extraordinarily more difficult. So the reason I like to do this is see, especially this week, how, especially for Showdown, where the birdie streaks are likely to come. And clearly, the easiest part of the course looks to be 16, 17, 18, and 1, with 1 obviously being the easiest hole on the course. 16 generally plays right at par. It's playing slightly under par. And then 17, you do have the par 5. So if you are able to get a birdie on the 18th, which is by no means a guarantee, it is playing a 1/10 of a shot over par. But you do have two par 5s sandwiching a par 4 that gives you a chance at a birdie streak. So for Showdown purposes, I think I would prefer players that are starting on hole 10. 10 and 11 give you a decent start, a decent opportunity. Now 12 has been very hard. It's generally the hardest hole on the course, but it's been very hard this year. So, that's not necessarily a great chance at a birdie streak. But not every single player will play 16, 17, 18, and 1 in succession. Obviously, if you're teeing off on 1, you're going to end at 18 and not make the turn. So, for Showdown purposes, I think I'm leaning towards a back 9 start. And again, we won't know the tee times and tee positions, if you will, until tomorrow when they resume. I think they're saying 7:15 local time, I believe. So I'll keep that up, but I'm going to minimize that. And I do have Fantasy National up and going, sorted on statistics from the beginning of 2022. So again, just looking at what we're seeing in terms of wind and the lack thereof, give these players a boost in your rankings or in your considerations. Patrick Cantley, Scotty Scheffler, Tom Kim, Xander, if he makes the cut, it's no guarantee. Rahm and Homa. Day has played very well in calm winds. Rory, very well in calm winds. Now, Harmon's going to miss the cut. Matt Fitzpatrick's going to miss the cut. Hatton plays very well in the wind, or calm winds, excuse me. Tony Finau, Cameron Young, Keith Mitchell, probably a lot of the reason why he's playing so very, very well. But he plays generally well when it's difficult as well. So I wasn't anywhere really near Keith Mitchell this week. But I've been high on him very, lately, especially at Phoenix. So there is a look at your best players in calm wins. So I will have this up for reference. So let's go ahead and move to Microsoft Excel. And I did notice, in fact, I said I was going to move to Microsoft Excel. I'm a filthy liar. I did notice that there has been one eagle on a par 4. So I need to find who that is. Perhaps somebody's score is a little artificially low, if you will. So Shane Lowry. What hole was it? It is the 5th that we're looking for. Okay, so we're looking for the 5th hole. And who eagled on the 5th? It was not Kuchar. It was not Woodland. And again, I would normally would have this ready to go for you all, but I got home a half an hour ago. Aha! Kurt Kitayama apparently holes out on hole 5. So going to denote Kurt Kitayama in a shading to let us know that he has probably a little bit artificially high numbers. You can see I kept Lonto Griffin in here. I'm just going to black all of his stuff out since he has withdrawn. Let's see. Other than that, I believe we can go ahead and start looking at some things. And yes, I have not been able to remove players that I know or who are going to miss the cut and all that stuff. But the first thing I like to do is sort on putting. And you'll see over here all the way to the far right, I've got a putting difference metric. Now, some of these players don't have statistics on POA from 2021 forward. And I went to 2021 because that is the timeline that I used in my mixed condition model. And if you're interested in looking at more historical POA putting, we can do that here at Fantasy National. But I am going to stay consistent with the timeline that I used in my mixed condition model. So we're just going to have to take this for what it's worth, and we're not going to be able to compare it to any differences. However, players that have some POA putting will be able to take a look here. So I always want to see who has drastically overperformed and underperformed their putting. So I will mark that in their various shades of orange and green for our use this evening. And then we'll do the same for the underperformers. Go here to 25, 25 to 50, and above. And you're probably going to see a tail walk by here in just a moment. Since I have been gone for most of the evening, the second regular is not happy. Okay, we're going to sort back on our salaries. And let's just kind of take a look here. So you can see Jon Rahm, he has been the 5th best putter this weekend. Now, he is generally not the best POA putter, but he is a very good 3-putt avoider on POA, so I don't want to discredit him too much on that. You can see Xander has drastically underperformed his putting. He is usually the 3rd best putter on fast POA greens in the field this week. He's been 90th. Rory, generally better as well. He's not performed very well. Let's see. Colin Morikawa, or I'm sorry, no, not Morikawa, Cantlay, has not putt very, very well. Yet he is pretty high on the leaderboard. We know Spieth's going to miss the cut. You can see how much he underperformed his putting, so we can mark him out. In fact, let me bring up the leaderboard on my other monitor over here, and I can quickly run through and cross out the players that we know are going to miss the cut. So anybody +2 and above that's finished, we can go ahead and mark them off. So this is going to be better if I go by alphabetical order. All right. Justin Lauer misses the cut. Fitzpatrick and Henley. Surprising to see Matt Fitzpatrick miss the cut. I was very, very high on him. Henley, Lucas Glover. We already had Spieth, so Lucas Glover, Justin Rose going to miss the cut. Again, I'm going to mark off anybody that's +2 or above. I highly, highly doubt that cut line is going to come all the way down to +2. Hideki and Taylor Montgomery. Hideki, very, very poor in putting, which he normally is, but he's generally decent on POA. So interesting to see that. Taylor Moore, one of the pats on the back that I will give myself. I was full fading Taylor Moore mostly because of the projected ownership. In fact, what did he end up? I'll grab the again, this is just from the big pitch and putt. But Taylor Moore, 8%, so he was actually a whole lot lower than what he was projected to be via Fantasy National on Wednesday evening. But still, I wanted no part of Taylor Moore this week, and that looks to have paid off for me. I apologize. Let me freeze these panes. Alex Noren is going to miss the cut. McGreevy and Smalley. Max McGreevy. Smotherman, Merritt, and Rogers. Surprising to see Rogers miss the cut. I mean, he's not played well lately. I will say that, but he generally likes Riviera. So seeing him not play well, a bit shocking. I did use him in one of my lineups, although he was expected to be very, very chalky as well. So I tried to limit my use of Patrick Rogers for that reason. Redmond misses the cut. Danny Lee and Cameron Champ. Again, apologies, just bear with me as I haven't had a chance to remove the players that we know are going to miss the cut. I mean, technically, I guess Cameron Champ could make it if he holds out on 18, but boy, I just kind of jumped the gun there a little bit. Nakajima does have a few holes to play, so I won't mark him out just yet. Chad Rainey, Brandon Wu. Jack Wall and Davis Thompson. Keegan, as I mentioned throughout. Hey James, sorry, I just now saw your message in chat as trying to situate my settings here. Got a late start as I was out of town for the evening, so I just got back probably half an hour before the show, so I'm still gathering and trying to organize all of this. But right now I am removing all of the players that we know are going to miss the cut. But thanks for jumping in chat. Bear with me just for a bit as I get this all situated. Did you play any full week lineups? If you did, how are those going? I had some very, very good recommendations, and I've had some pretty awful ones this week. But the fact that I put Lee Hodges out there, I feel pretty darn smart about that one right now. No, hey, you can't lose. How are my lineups looking? I'll show you here in a bit once I get all of this organized. It's got a lot of promise. It's got a lot of promise. It's been pretty good. Like I said, I feel pretty darn smart for the Lee Hodges suggestion. I've got Rom and Homa lineups several times. Yeah, it's been pretty darn good. Now, like I said, I have had some very, very poor recommendations. I was very high on Matt Fitzpatrick, Hideki. Obviously, those didn't turn out well. If Xander misses the cut, it's going to be pretty brutal for me. He's right on the cut line. I think he's in. He's in the clubhouse at +1. There's no way. I don't see the +2s making it. Having said that, I don't think the +1s are going to miss. So I think Xander and Tiger, Ricky Fowler, I think those guys are going to make the cut. So I'm feeling pretty good. Billy Horschel, Robert Streb, and Joel Damon. Joel Damon was somebody I said that I didn't mind. Boy, he played awful, which he is always. He's played bad at Riviera historically. How much of the tournament did I watch? I watched the majority of it yesterday before Bowling League. Today I was not. I was able to watch almost all of the morning wave. Like I said, I was out of town afternoon and evening. Oh, excuse me. So I didn't catch any of the afternoon wave, really. I think I might have seen like the feature groups tee off of maybe 1 and 2. That was about it. But I was able to listen to some of it in the car, so I'm aware of the happenings going on, but just not able to watch it live. Wallace is out. Davis, Brim, and Knox. How has your week been? Have any exciting plans for the weekend? Do you have any preconceived notions of who you're wanting to look at this weekend in terms of golf? Did you make any outright wagers? All that good stuff. Chez Reavie is out. He's technically not finished with his round, but Marcus Bird is +6 with 2 holes to go. He's going to have to hole out twice. Don't like those chances, so I'm going to mark him off. Scott Stallings, Grayson Sigg. Grayson Sigg. Cage Lee and Nick Watney. Watney, Neesmith, and Molinari. Boy, Francesco Molinari has not played well in a long time. So, anytime I see Francesco. Callum Tarrant was another player that I was pretty high on. He generally plays difficult courses well. And literally last place later, not so much. He shoots a solid 80 today. So clearly not everything that I put out there was 100% correct, and it never will be. But boy, that was a pretty bad one. I said I liked Callum Tarrant. Okay, now that I've got everything that I think I can out of the way, my lineups. Let's go ahead and I'll show you those, James, and then for anybody who has not seen it or did catch the intro, we'll recover these. But my top lineup, I actually have 2 of them. I have 2 lineups that I generated that are at 303 points. And if I submitted those into the big pitch and putt, I'd be inside the top 150. So I was very, very high. You can see this lineup here. It is only a 5 of 6, but Rahm, Homa, and Lee Hodges. Hadwin's going to make the cut, although I think he's at -2, so he's, top 30 right now or so. And Wyndham Clark does have 2 holes to play, but he's inside the cut line. So this would be a pretty strong 5 of 6, especially with the fact that I have Rahm, Homa, and Hodges, who is very, very littly owned. Very littly owned. I can't imagine he's much at all. 1.2%. And I've got him in 2 different lineups. So feeling pretty good about that. That's clearly one of the best lineups that I have. And anytime that I am submitting my best lineup, I'm never going to complain. I'm never going to call that a bad thing. You see, I've also submitted my 3rd best lineup. So I've picked the right lineups or some of my right lineups. But as you can see here, I've picked some terrible ones too. My 93rd out of 100, I decided to play. My 99th out of 100, I decided to play. So, if I'm submitting my 1st, my 3rd, and my 4th best lineups, I'm not going to complain, because those are generally going to be very, very top heavy. And again, this is just the big pitch and putt, so every contest will be different. But cashing as of this moment in the big pitch and putt is 233.5. So I did this a little earlier, but again, just to re-show it or for anyone who joined late to see it for the first time, right now I would have 37 of my 100 lineups cashing if I submitted all 100 into the pitch and putt. I'm going to accept that percentage any week if I have 37% cash, because generally speaking, I will have at least a lineup or two that will be top heavy enough to cover the losses. So 37% cash in the big pitch and putt if I were to submit all 100 lineups into the pitch and putt. The one lineup that I did submit for the pitch and putt is not going to cash. It is bad. It's really bad, which is unfortunate. So I'm really going to need to have some big top end performances in my other contests. Fortunately, I am there so far because I have 2 guaranteed 6 of 6s. And again, this is assuming that the cut line doesn't move. Xander's at +1, but he is done. He's in the clubhouse at +1, so I am counting that as a made cut for now. If he misses the cut, that's going to be pretty bad because I used a lot of Xander. And then you see the players in blue here, light blue. They are inside the cut line but still have holes to play, so could go either way. And then the guys, I had a singleton of Nick Hardy, I had a singleton of Bo Hostler. They are outside the cut line, still have holes to play. Unlikely they're going to get into the cut. So those are basically missed cuts right now. But yeah, I mean, I have 2 6 of 6s. I have a potential third. Kitayama is, I won't say comfortably in because he does have about 4 holes to play, but he has, I think, 2 shots of maneuverability or breathing room. Wyndham Clark is right on the cut line. He's at +1 with, I think, 2 holes to go. Fortunately, one of those is a par 5. So it's a little bit more iffy there. But, I mean, you can see some of these lineups that I've got. Rahm and Homa together with Hodges. We showed that one off. Let's see. What was the other one? Team 5, I think? Yeah. So this is in a single entry contest. Rahm, Kuchar, Hoagie, Cantley. And I didn't talk about him on Wednesday evening, but I used Ben Taylor a couple times, 3 times to be exact, and he's sitting at -2 at literally a 0.5% owned. So, you know, that's feeling pretty good. Now, granted, I've got some real shit lineups that are just, you know, absolutely toast. You know, this 3 of 6 here, even though it has Rahm, Homa, and Detry, I mean, that lineup is toast. Xander, Wyndham Clark, they're both on the cut line. Jason Day, I think, might have went, I think he sits at -3 or so. So, I mean, he's pretty far back. That lineup is absolute toast. But, as of right now, I am, I think, 50% return on investment, roughly, give or take. I'm not doubling my money, but it's, I am certainly a lot better off than breaking even. So in between those two measurements is where I'm sitting right now. And I would accept that every single week. But anyway, let's try to figure out some of these potential weekend and round 3 lineups, round 3 showdowns. And I prefer to play weekend. That is my strongest. That is where I just don't have to worry about positioning. As you can see, I didn't even bring in where they are, where they're sitting in the tournament. I just trying to project where they're going to finish. Like, the positioning points is hard for me. I just like to give show you who I think is going to play better than what their numbers have been showing. So with that, first thing I'm going to do, I'll bring you back to to ESPN, and hopefully that is zoomed in enough to see. But the big thing with Showdown, weekend golf is a little bit different, but the big thing for Showdown, a specific round Showdown, you got to find your birdie streaks. And Riviera is tough, so there's not a lot of birdie streaks. But if you take a look at the stretch of holes from 16, 17, 18, and 1, unfortunately it's not going to let me highlight them all at the same time. 16 is playing slightly under par. It's no guarantee it's a birdie, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. 17, par 5, playing, a quarter of a shot under par. Certainly a birdie hole. 18 is tough. No guarantee. It's playing, a little more than a tenth of a shot over par. But then you get the easiest hole in the course. So the easiest birdie stretch that I see is from 16, 17, 18, and 1. More than likely, 17, 18, and 1. 10 and 11 are also a decent 2-hole stretch, but then the hardest hole in the course is 12. If I were to play Showdown, I think I would target players that start on hole 10 in case they do find a birdie on 12 or 10, 11, and 12. Wouldn't count on it, but I'm trying to attack the 16, 17, 18, and 1 stretch, because the players that start on hole 1 aren't going to be able to get that wraparound. Like 8, 9, 10, and 11 is okay. It's okay, but I would much rather take that chance at having, the 2 par 5s in that 3-hole stretch. So all other things being equal, James, and we won't have the tee times until tomorrow morning again because round 2 is suspended. Target players that are teeing off on the back 9. Again, all other things being equal. And then I have highlighted Kurt Kitayama in, a kind of a shade of an orange, or a warning, as he did hole out on a par 4. I think it was today. So his strokes gain approach, his actual score is going to be a little artificially high because of that. So with that, now I'll sort on salary, and let's start to get into it. So one of the first thing that jumps off to me, Rory and especially Xander have really underperformed their putting. I mean, really underperformed their putting. Xander's hitting plenty of greens. Rory's hitting plenty of greens. Rory is the number 1 scrambler. It gives me a little bit of pause. But you can see all of Rory's numbers are there. I mean, everything is there. I think I'm going to get confused. I'm going to hide this column. I won't delete it, so it'll be there if we want to see it. I am going to hide that column. It's going to confuse me a little bit. So, everything with Rory has been there except for the putter, and it's generally pretty good. He's also been the number 1 bogey avoider this week. So, I mean, to me, Rory he looks core. He does. He looks absolutely core because of that. If Xander makes the cut, I like Xander a lot. I'm going to put him in green, but not bolding just yet, because the off the tee has not been great. Now the irons are plenty there, sure. So generally, if you're going to combine approach and putting, you're going to do pretty well. I don't know. Off the tee has been a little bit iffy for Xander this week. He hasn't been gaining a whole lot of distance, so I like Xander just because he should putt a lot better. But his outlying numbers are a little concerning. Let's see. Elsewhere here, Max Homa's been the number one putter, but he's generally pretty good. I mean, he's 28th normally, so I'm not really shying away from Max Homa because of it. Patrick Cantlay is somebody else I'd be targeting pretty darn heavily. You can see his numbers have been extremely solid. He's generally 11th in POA putting. He's 56th. So Patrick Cantlay would be core. Absolutely. And the great thing is, at least with Showdown, these players are high up there on the leaderboard, so you've got those placement points as well. So that's also something to take note of. But this pricing is specifically for weekend golf. At least it should be for weekend golf. Let's see. Moving down here, Victor Hovland has not putt up to his standard. He's not gaining a whole lot of fairways. Like he's an elite ball striker. I don't know. I kind of like Victor Hovland too. I'll put him in a shade of green for now. I was a little worried about Sung Jae. He played pretty darn good today to make the cut. Zalatoris, he's been the number one player off the tee this week. Greens, fantastic. He's hitting fairways. He's got distance. He's generally a whole lot better putter on POA than what he's showing. Again, it's Zalatoris. He's generally not the best putter anyway. But seeing the fact that he's been number one off the tee, he's hitting plenty of greens, plenty of fairways. Now, he is the number one sand saves player. That means he's been 100% on sand saves. You would expect that to come down. But Will Zalatoris also seems pretty core. Which is not leaving us with much money to work with. But, I mean, these three guys seem like they should improve. And Rory and Patrick Cantlay are pretty high up there on the leaderboard as it is. Jason Day, the irons haven't been there, and he's overperforming his putting. Like, look at his greens. Has been pretty bad. He's the sixth best scrambler. Now, he is hitting plenty of fairways, but the distance isn't there. Like, I'm off on Jason Day. Oh, crap. Wrong color. I'm off on Jason Day. He played very, very well today to make the cut, but Tom Kim's playing okay. Like, I don't know. Like, he hasn't hit many greens. He's hit plenty of fairways. Now, he has had more distance than what I thought he would have had. But Adam Scott's somebody that should probably play a lot better. He's usually the number one putter on POA. And you see the greens have been there, so that in theory should be a lot better. Mitchell, I don't want to cross off or say that he's, due for regression, because he does play well when it's difficult. Hey, P, thanks for jumping in chat. How has your week been? Hopefully things in your neck of the woods are going well. Did you play any full week lineups? If you did, how are they going? I will say I don't remember seeing you much this week, and I didn't get the chance to give you a little bit of slack for Callum Tarrant last week at the Waste Management. That did not turn out well, but I turned right around and suggested Callum Tarrant this week, and that again didn't turn out well. So we're each 0 for 1 in that regard. But thanks for jumping in chat. Looking forward to getting Taryn sucks. Yep. I had him in a couple lineups this week. So he's gonna prevent. I think he might prevent 1 6 of 6. Now I gotta go look. Taryn, yeah. So like this lineup here was toast regardless. This is one of the lineups that had Taryn, so that didn't really cost me a 6 of 6. However, there is another one that, yeah, so it's this one. Like this one looks to be a 6 of 6 as of now, or would have been a 6 of 6 had I used somebody other than Callum Taryn. But overall, he's not costing me too much. But I did make the recommendation of Callum Taryn, so you and I are 0 for 1 on that regard. My main single entry, Homa, Morikawa, can't play, very good. Wyndham, Detry, and Hardy. You know what? That lineup should be very, very good right now. Homa, Morikawa. Morikawa's playing excellent. Patrick can't play. I'm actually I might start using that. I'll give you credit, P, but I'm going to start using that. I like that. Patrick can't play. Wyndham Clark is also right on the cut. So that's a little dangerous, but I do believe he's playing the back 9. I believe he's got 17 and 18 to play. If he's got 8 and 9, that's a little different. 8 and 9, I'm a little concerned. But if Wyndham Clark gets to play 17, that should be a birdie opportunity for him. And yes, Hardy will need to birdie one of the 2 holes. So you listen. I don't know if you were on Detry or not. I don't want to take a whole lot of credit, but I know I was very high on Detry. So if you got Detry from me, good job on listening on that, because I thought Detry was going to be pretty good. He's turned out to be pretty good. Yeah, that lineup should be pretty darn good. Seems like it's doing well, especially if you can get 5 or 6, particularly Wyndham Clark through. I think you're going to be doing okay. I mean, if you got 6 of 6 through, then there you go. Confirmation always helps. Yeah. Oh, hey, like I said, I'm here to give you, how I see things, and if I either confirm something or talk you off or push you one way or the other, that's what I'm here to do for analysis purposes. Let's see. Again, moving through the weekend golf slate here. Again, I don't want to write off Keith Mitchell. Yes, he's been 100% on sand saves. But the guy generally plays difficult courses well. And Riviera's been difficult. He is overperforming his putting, but everything else has been pretty solid. Like, I don't know. I can take or leave Mitchell in terms of a weekend golf. Put it that way. Ricky, boy, I don't know. Seems like a little bit of smoke and mirrors here. He's hitting plenty of greens, but he's not the best on POA putting. So, See, other players, like Kuchar seems like he should be solid. Kuchar does seem like he should be solid because he's been 3rd off the tee and he's not been short by any means. I mean, he's not the longest, clearly, but he hasn't been short. He's not in, Harris English 123rd territory. He's been plenty long enough. He's 4th in irons. He's hit the most fairways, 4th most in greens, and you can see if he's hitting the 4th most in greens and yet 106th in putting where he's normally 31st, that screams positive regression. So I think Matt Kuchar would be somebody to highly consider for weekend golf, especially if this stays. Now, there could be some, regression to the mean negatively in these 2 stats, but he's at least showing that he has ball striking this week. This should improve. Tiger's played well. AJ, how you doing? Thanks for jumping in chat. Mitchell is on the upswing and see him contending for a win soon. Yeah, I completely agree. I don't know if you jumped into chat when I was talking about him. or if this was right before you joined, like, as much as he's overperforming his putting, and again, I'm talking specifically just for weekend golf, but the guy plays difficult courses well. So I don't want to say that this is, it's not smoke and mirrors. I don't want to say that I'm fading him. I don't think I'm necessarily having to gravitate towards him like I am a Matt Kuchar, Zalatoris, because of their extreme underperformance with their putter. I mean, Keith Mitchell's just been solid all week. He's been solid really for the past month. Came in late, yeah. Keith Mitchell's been solid really for the last month. He's hitting plenty of greens. Now, he is 100% on sand safe, so you don't expect that to happen. That should, come back down a little bit. But he's 6th in distance. He's always had distance, which it's not mandatory at Riviera, but it certainly doesn't hurt. For weekend golf, I can take or leave Keith Mitchell. I'll put him in a light shade of green. Like I said, I don't have to gravitate towards him, but I'm not afraid to use him either. Again, trying to go through here, like Corey Connors, his ball striking, which is normally there, atrocious this week. He's not the best around the green, and he's overperforming his putting. Like, I want no part of Corey Connors for weekend golf. Not at all. And yes, you can argue that, for as much as you expect regression to the mean negatively here, you would have to think regression to the mean with the irons. And sure, that's fine, but sometimes guys just don't have their ball striking week. So I'd much rather bank on the positive negative regression on the putter as opposed to the irons for weekend golf. Wyndham Clark looks like he should be okay if he does make the cut. He's drastically underperformed in his putting on POA. Now, the around the green, he's normally very good around the green. He hasn't been this week. And take that a little bit with it. Take that for what you will. He's hit plenty of greens. He's hit plenty of fairways. Hence, he's 10th off the tee. He's just underperformed his putting quite a bit. Mitchell almost killed me a few years ago off the tee at the Waste Management. Dude, Keith Mitchell, I think AJ's onto something there. I mean, he has won. I think he won the Honda. Don't quote me on that. I think it was the Honda that he won 2 or 3 years ago. Like, Keith Mitchell's got a lot of game. I agree with AJ's take that he should. I think he'll grab a win this year. I really do. How much? Sorry for the loud ice, but it is what it is. How much of a limb that is, you can decide how big that limb is or whatever. But I do think Keith Mitchell grabs a win this year. Let's see. Other places here, like Tagala. Tagala actually seems okay as well. He's generally not good with the irons. So the fact that he is 5th in strokes gained approach, he's hitting plenty of greens, he's scrambling. The off the tee is a little concerning. Fair. Maybe not that shade of green, maybe a little bit less, but Tagala seems okay. Thomas Detry, somebody I was, again, very, very high on. Coming into week-long lineups, plenty of distance, he's hitting plenty of greens. He's avoiding bogeys. Now, the thing is, we do not know his propensity for POA putting. He has not put a lot of rounds into POA to where we can comfortably say, whether he's over or underperforming. But he's been putting well this week, so that's all I can go by. Detry seems fine. I'll tweet you the video of his shot after he almost killed. Okay. I'm looking forward to that one. That'll be good. Let's see. Dropping elsewhere here. Like, I talked about Seamus Power and how he hadn't played well coming into this, for as much as he's, number 3 or 4 in the FedEx Cup, I'm seeing a lot of the same here. Like, his irons haven't been good. His greens, he's not really particularly scrambling all that well either. I don't know where he's sitting. Do you see Rahm taking it down this week or fading to Homa like he did against Scotty? I don't even know if I would call it fading to Homa. I mean, Homa won this tournament 2 years ago. Max Homa is... I don't think it would be fair to Jon Rahm to say he would fade to Homa, especially since Homa's leading the tournament right now. I do think I'm hoping Homa wins. I know a few people that have outright wagers on him, thanks to my analysis this week. So it would look good for me if Homa won. I'd have a lot of shout outs at the beginning of the show Sunday night. I do agree with you, P, that I could see Rory making a run. Don't ignore Patrick Cantlay. Look at these numbers. Like, Patrick Cantlay has been very, very good, and he has underperformed his putting drastically. I can see Patrick Cantlay making a pretty good run at this as well this week. But I don't disagree with any of those takes. Like, except for the fact that calling it a fade to Homa. I do disagree with that notion. But Jon Rahm has a lot going for him as well. Like, he's on fire with the putter this week. Now, normally he's not a very good putter on POA, but I think this is a little deceiving because he is top 20 in 3-putt avoidance on fast POA greens. I've got this for calm. Let me bring up fast POA. I'll have to expand the timeline a little bit. Fast and POA. And again, I'll just go back to the same timeline that I used for my mixed condition model. You see Jon Rahm 76th in terms of total putting on specifically fast POA. And the reason I go with fast POA is that's what Riviera has been literally since they've tracked it via Fantasy National. All fast and all POA. So, but anyway, but if we go to specific putting metrics and look at 3-putt avoidance, look, Jon Rahm is top 20 in 3-putt avoidance on fast POA greens, and we've seen that. His ricochet shot. I read that on the way home, or maybe right as soon as I got home. AJ, since you joined late, you missed the explanation that I was a little bit discombobulated at the beginning of the stream. I've been out of town, afternoon and evening. Got home about 30 minutes before the stream started. But I did read where he apparently ricocheted a shot and gets away with it, and it goes feet from the hole. So, hey, sometimes you just need good breaks in tournaments. Need a one-and-done win from Rahm. Let me down last week on my other team. I mean, a win from Rahm this week, certainly not out of the picture. I mean, he's tied for second. If I had to guess right now, though, I would go Homa. Not just because he's in the lead. I mean, he's won here. This tournament means a whole lot to him. I mean, the guy broke down in tears when he won in 2021. Like, so you see Homa, he's 4 for 4, and other than in 2019 when it was a middling finish, he's never finished outside the top 10. Jon Rahm has very good finishes, but he's never won here. He's got, some good finishes, but not this sustained elite. So I think I would have to go with Max Homa if I had to pick a winner right now. And sure, some of that is probably some bias because, like I told you, there are some people who made win wagers based on based on my analysis this week. See the replay on Golf Channel. That was the best shot until Xander's amazing shot to help him make the cut. I also heard about Xander's shot because he was, what was he, +3? And then he eagled 17. I think I have that right. So that I've got quite a bit to catch up on. Yeah. But that sounds awesome as well. All right. I'm going to try to rattle through some of these 6Ks and low 7s to help out with these weekend lineups like SH Kim. You can see every single statistic right now is really, really bad. He's second in putting. Sorry. I mean, maybe he loves POA, but I can't. Oh, that's not the. I meant to go here. No thanks on SH Kim. Lowry, he doesn't have any POA putting in the past 2 years. I don't know. Like, I'm just gonna put him in yellow. Like, I don't know what to do with Shane Lowry. Like, every time I think he's gonna play good, he doesn't. Every time I think he's gonna struggle, he plays well. Like, yeah, that's what I got for you on Shane Lowry. I wish I had a better answer for you on Lowry. I just don't. Ball Hostler, generally pretty darn good on POA. He's been pretty bad, but the ball striking has been really bad. And again, there's no guarantee he makes the cut. I think he's 2 shots behind it. There's just a realistic... I mean, he has a chance to make the cut, so I wouldn't go with Ball Hostler. Again, let me try to look here in the 6K, see if there's anything that jumps out to me. Like Kitayama, his irons have been very good, but look at the greens. The driving distance and fairways are bad. Like, I'm just going to be all the way out on Kitayama. I had him shaded because he holed out on a par 4, so his scoring was already a little artificially high as it was. Thought about him for the Honda next week. Are you talking about Hostler? I do like that thought initially, if it's Hostler. But again, I'm still focused on the Genesis. I won't start my Honda until probably tomorrow night, and then into Sunday. Shane Lowry. Is he? I know the field is out. Of course, I was out of town, so I haven't seen it. I guess, is Lowry in the field? Did he commit for the Honda? We'll take a very quick look at Shane Lowry here. I was going to. Now I'm just going to have to search for him. I know this is on POA, so let's just take a look. So the one thing about the Honda, it's on Bermuda. Again, take that with a little bit of a grain of salt. Putting isn't everything. He does play his best when it's difficult. I will give you that. He's listed along with Sunjay as a favorite. Okay. Honda's always very difficult. So that right there, I completely understand your line of thinking with that. My issue with Lowry is his game is kind of everywhere right now. At the St. Jude, it was kind of mediocre. Then he comes back and plays very, very well at the BMW. Doesn't qualify for the Tour Championship. The CJ Cup, he plays, okay. The irons are there, but the putting's not. And again, that was on Bermuda greens, specifically Lightning Bermuda greens, which I believe the Honda can get to that as well. That's not what I wanted. I wanted to go to here. Honda. Yeah, Lightning Bermuda. So, I don't know. I do like the difficult, because the Honda's always very difficult. I don't know. I guess it's okay. Like I said, it's hard for me to give you a thumbs up, a thumbs down, versus or when I haven't looked at much with the Honda yet. Weak field, from what I can tell. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I have seen where a lot of people in the golf industry were concerned that the Honda would be a very weak field considering the back-to-back designated events. I'm going to call them premier events, but designated events on the PGA Tour, and the fact that you would have to cross-country travel west to east, losing, the hours, the jet lag and stuff. I was worried, or I've seen where people in the industry were worried for the quality of the field, and it makes sense if it is low. I don't think you are out in left field or whatever saying you want to use. I think it's a very legitimate thought process. Lowry plays his best when it's difficult. Weak field. Like, I like the line of thinking you're on with that. You know what? Let's do something just very, very quickly, and we'll go back to weekend golf. But again, that's why I'm here. I enjoy the questions. We can look at things coming up and whatnot, and I'll stay on as long as people have questions and whatnot. So don't be afraid to ask a question. It's Friday night. I ain't got shit else to do, so let's just hang out. But I do want to look at Jack Nicklaus because it's a Jack Nicklaus design. I was hoping 2022 would be enough. It doesn't look like it is, so I'm going to go back to 2021. Let's see how he is on Jack Nicklaus designs. Is this enough rounds? Yeah, probably not. I don't want to go back too far, but I do want enough rounds to make it, statistically significant enough. Actually, do they even have the Honda field? Oh my gosh, they have. This is why Fantasy National is the best. There's a lot of great tools out there, don't get me wrong. This is why Fantasy National is the best. They already have the Honda field in. So if you're not a member at Fantasy National, I can't begin to tell you how much you're missing out on it. So that is the best plug that I can give for Fantasy National. Anyway, let's look at Jack Nicklaus courses, because this is a Jack Nicklaus design. And where is Shane Lowry in that? 21st? Okay. Not bad at all. Yeah, okay. Let's see. You got Kuchar, Horschel, Sungjae, Aaron Wise, Riley. Let's just take off the Nicklaus filter and go. Let's go past. Let's just go this PGA Tour season, just to get a feel for who's in. Sungjae, Detry, Rogers analytically should be good, but he has been shit lately. Boy, you aren't wrong here, AJ. This field is underwhelming for sure. And again, Shane Lowry isn't up here just because he doesn't have many rounds. Ben Griffin's been okay. This is a pretty weak field. Hey, Bhatia. I think, wasn't that your boy, James? Was it James or was it P that was all about Akshay Bhatia a couple weeks ago? Share that login and password, bro. They go from 0 water hazard to probably the most water. Yeah. There is a lot of water at the Honda. I know there is one course that has water on every hole. I don't think it's the Honda, but it is somewhere in Florida, I think. It might be the Honda. Um, share the login and password. You know, if I get this channel grown and all that, that could be a subscription bonus or something. I don't know. Don't think I can get away with that at the moment, P. It was a good effort, though. I got a good laugh out of me. Yeah, I agree with you here on this, AJ. This does not look like a strong field. This does not look like a strong field at all. So, I like your line of thinking. I do. All right. Let's... Gosh dang it. That's my wrong spreadsheet. All right. Let's see. So, yeah, we ended off on Kitayama. Sam Ryder. Boy, his irons have actually been there. Interesting. But he's overperforming his putting. Look at Sepp Straka. Like, I was just nowhere near Sepp Straka. He's 4th in greens. But I don't know. That's interesting. Like Stefan Jaeger as well. Jaeger's hit plenty of greens. He's had a lot of distance, a lot of fairways. Now, he's generally not very good on POA. 72nd. But everything else has been pretty good. He just hasn't scrambled or sand saved. Stefan Jaeger actually kind of looks pretty intriguing. Granted, with this. That actually does kind of look intriguing. Not upset about what I see with Jaeger. So I could see myself coming down to the 6,800s for weekend. Like Shank, I want no part of. See what he's been doing. His irons are crap this week. He's overperformed his putting by miles. No thank you. Moronk, kind of the same, although we don't have enough rounds to, look at the POA, but the irons have been pretty bad. Not hitting a lot of fairways. It's all in distance. Like I won't say a complete red, but kind of an orange on Moronk. As much as I feel pretty smart about using Ben Taylor a couple times in week-long lineups, like look at his metrics here. He's overperformed his putting by miles. The irons haven't been good. The off the tee hasn't been good. Like nothing analytically says Ben Taylor should be making the cut, and he is. Danny Willett looks like he's all smoke and mirrors. He's been scrambling, sand saving. Now the irons have been there. The greens have been there. Okay. The greens have been there, but he's overperforming his putting. Like, Anybody else that's drastically over or underperforming their metrics? Doesn't look like it. Uncle Luke, overperforming. Yep. Overperforming his putting. He hasn't been doing anything around the green. The greens are okay. He's hitting a lot of fairways, which is adding to his off the tee. Sorry, P. Uncle Luke's, I think, going to have to be a red. Matthias Schwab's kind of interesting. He's hitting greens. He's generally a pretty good putter on POA. He's hitting fairways. Like, Schwab might be worth a look. I don't know if I would use him. But he's probably worth a look. And again, some of these guys might miss the cut. Anybody that is in the clubhouse, like finished, +2 and over, I eliminated. So, I mean, players like Nick Hardy are probably still in here, to be honest with you, because they're still technically, because he still technically has a chance to make the cut. Paul Hostler the same. All right, but for weekend golf, let's see. I've gotten those 4. I said Stefan Jaeger. Yeah. So there's one team probably that I would go with in terms of a weekend golf. is this one here. I do like that one. I mean, yes, you're coming into the 6Ks for Stefan Jaeger, but as we just saw, like, I like a lot of what I see here with it. Don't know how much more I would go down into the 6Ks. Lee Hodges, actually, Lee Hodges looks okay. I mean, he's generally pretty good on POA, but look at the irons. They've been here. He generally plays difficult courses well. That's why I was mentioning him throughout the week. The more I look at Lee Hodges, the more I think he might be okay. So you could probably come down to 6,300. If Rory storms back this weekend, I'm going to be steamed. He was a wasted pick and one and done last week. For as much as I do golf content, one and done is the format that I want to get into. I just haven't. Mainly because I haven't done anything in a big major contest type of way. I mean, some of my friends, off stream or whatever, we do a weekly pick 'em, but it's not a one and done. You just pick the winner of the tournament that week. I also have Max Homa in that this week, so there's also a little bit of added bias on my part, admittedly. But one and done is the one format that I think I would enjoy. I haven't gotten into yet. But I think Rory could make a run. I think that was UP that mentioned him. I think Cantley's going to have a run in him, or at least analytically it says he should have a run in him, especially with the stats that he has had so far in his first 2 rounds. Will Zalatoris looks like he should play pretty well. He's been the number 1 player off the tee. He's 7th in distance, 6th in fairways. I mean, he's been better than John Rahm in terms of off the tee. Granted, Rahm's not been good off the tee this week, but just saying. Zalatoris has been the number 1 player off the tee. He's generally a pretty good putter on POA. Again, it's Will Zalatoris, so he's not a great putter in general, but he's generally okay on POA. I think Will Zalatoris will make a decent little run. Adam Scott generally is the best putter on POA. He's hit plenty of greens, so his score should be a lot better than what it is. So, all right, let's try to get a couple of. I'm in the Rick Run Good and Mayo League. Yeah, I'm feeling about Will, but was concerned about his alleged injury. I know he's playing, but he missed all fall with that shoulder. He played okay at the Tournament of Champions, but I don't think we've seen him since, have we? I don't think so. Granted, I'm on the Honda field. I need to get back to the Genesis. I don't think we've seen him since the Tournament of Champions. So, what's the state of his game? Oh, he was at the Farmers, but he missed the cut. So, yeah. This place generally, he has played Riviera well. Where? I can't even talk. He's played Riviera well. That's why I was, a little bit higher on him this week. So I think Will Zalatoris should be okay. Let's see. Let's create some other lineups in here. We use Rory. We use Cantley. Probably want to consider Max Homa. Yes, he is overperforming his putting. But, I mean, the guy just loves Riv. The greens are there. The distance is there. I mean, everything is there for him. Morikawa, to be fair, has been playing very, very well. He's been the best around the green. I don't think you would expect that. But, again, 9th in greens. He's 3rd in bogey avoidance this week. The off-the-tee game is fine. I like Morikawa. Same reason that I've been really, really gun-shy on JT, and it hurt me last week. at Phoenix. There's no doubt about it, because JT was a full fade for me at Phoenix, and he played really, really well. But his irons haven't been good. With the greens, the fairways and distance is not up to JT standards. He's overperforming his putting. JT analytically has to be a fade for me. He's just not performing well. Or at least analytically, he's not performing well. It's surprising to see Tony Finau be so bad off the tee. But he is this week. But yet, the greens are there. Putting, he's actually overperforming a little bit. I might put Tony Finau in an orange. All right, let's throw up another lineup here. I'm going to try to go a little bit more. I was going to say a little bit more balanced, but let's do like a Homa. Certainly, you could do a Cantlay, but I'm going to use Morikawa. Just trying to throw in some different names here. Homa, Morikawa, Victor. See what we have to play with in terms of money. In that regard, we got 7,300. I used Detry. Tagala never rates out well analytically for irons, and yet his iron play has been very good this week. He's been avoiding the bogeys. So, analytically that says, maybe this is a week to pounce on Tagala. Because the off-the-tee game is atrocious this week. So maybe he falls apart. But I'd be willing to invest a little bit maybe in Tagala. We used Jaeger. I kind of want to save Hodges for a big stars and scrubs. And I don't know if you would consider 3-9 stars and scrubs. Maybe you do. Maybe this is a lineup that you would throw Lee Hodges in. I'm going to try to avoid that for the moment. I could throw him in, I suppose. Like Wyndham Clark, I guess you could probably use. Like I said, everything points that he should be a lot better than what he's been. So maybe, actually, I'm going to put Wyndham Clark here. Tiger handling JT, that tampon. Yeah, it was a joke. It's hilarious. And I'm glad that some people, especially women, have come out and said, calm down, it was a joke. It was just funny. It was hilarious. The fact that the guy is basically on one ankle, still out driving people 10 to 15 years younger than him, I would absolutely have done the same thing. Tony needs to come alive this weekend. He's my other one and done pick. Yeah, I mean, where's he sitting? Is he -1 even? Where is Tony? He is Tony Finau. So there's all the +1s. -1? Yeah, okay. Yeah, he's another one that generally plays Riviera well. I mean, very well. But, I don't know. He's just not been very good this week, other than the irons. You think of Tony Finau, you think of off the tee. And he has been shit at off the tee this week. So, and he's not avoiding the bogeys either. I think it was a great one and done pick. I just think it's not going to work out for you, AJ. And I mean, that just happens. I think it was a great one and done pick. He loves this place. Let's see. Elsewhere, let's see, in this lineup here, we got 7,300 still to play with. I don't really like anything else in the upper sixes other than Jaeger. We already used him. All of these guys have drastically overperformed their putting, or really haven't played all that well. After the Emiliano Grillo love that I had for him last week, he plays terrible. And then we have the full, I think it was Ben Raza on Twitter earlier today, said that we got treated to the full Emiliano Grillo experience. And yet he's still going to make the cut. I just can't get there. McCarthy, his irons just aren't good enough for Riviera. Was Aiden much the same? Let's look at Aaron. Aaron Rye's been, I guess, okay at everything. I don't like I wouldn't rush to use it, but if you're wanting somebody other than Stefan Jaeger in the upper sixes, maybe Aaron Rye. Maybe. I'm not in love with it. So elsewhere in the low sevens, and I'm probably just going to have to be repeating names, but it looks like it's, Tagala, Detry. You have, if you think, well, shoot, the irons have been pretty bad. So maybe Nick Taylor's not the best. Like Gary Woodland, he's drastically overperforming his putting, but he has been the number one greens player. He's been number 2 in irons. Like, I don't know. I don't see a lot here. Finish top 20, I think, or remain in the top 25%. Okay, yeah. Hopefully you've had some good runs here. I know you didn't have Scheffler. You said you had Rory last week. Hopefully you had, either Rahm or Taylor Montgomery at the American Express, stuff of that nature. Rahm at the Century. I said this Wednesday night. Analytically, there's no way I can ever recommend Tiger, just from a pure analytics perspective. If you're a Tiger fan, use him. If you want to cheer for him, the bogey avoidance has been really bad, but he's hit plenty of greens. The irons have been there. So, he's had some positive signs for sure. I can never get there analytically because he doesn't play often. Hoagie being the 4th best putter, that is definitely going to come back down to earth. But he's ball striking it okay. So maybe you do something with. I'm just gonna throw a couple of names in here and move on to the next lineup. But there's a lineup. Shell, I guess is the word I'm looking for. You get your 3 9s or maybe a couple of 9s and an 8, and you balance it out however you want to at the bottom end, whether that's dropping to a 6K to get maybe a 4th 8 or whatever. But it's kind of that 3 9 shell is what I was going with for that lineup. No way he's like a wounded warrior if he's on your DFS team. It's just for... Yeah, that's what I mean. If he's... Like I said, from an analytics perspective, I can never advocate using Tiger. But if you want to use him, I'm not going to tell you... The guy has defied the odds. The fact that he made the cut at the Masters last year, he's handing out tampons to Justin Thomas. He's defied all the odds. I'm surprised he's playing competitive golf, let alone as well as, in all things considered, as well as he is. All right. Let's see. Are there any other players that we want to try to either build a lineup around, or like a roster or a lineup theory? Stars and scrubs. Yeah, we haven't done a stars and scrubs yet. I guess this would be the time to use like a Lee Hodges. I mentioned I was going to, use a Lee Hodges. Everything says that it should be pretty good. I mean, he's generally 10th in putting on POA, so the fact that he's 6th is not out of the, it's legitimate. He's been 2nd in greens. He is 2nd in scrambling. Take that for what it's worth. But I mean, he's hit plenty of fairways. Lee Hodges seems like it should work. And if we're going to do this kind of stars and scrubs thing, we have, we used a 6,300. I think it's probably a little bit too risky to go 63 and 68 like Stefan Jaeger. We used Detry twice. I would use Detry. I'm going to use. Let's use Matt Kuchar. No, I'm gonna try to. I'm trying to squeeze in a whole lot up at the top. Again, use who you're comfortable with in the low 7s. This would probably be Detry for me, but I've used him in 2 lineups, so I don't want to continue to repeat names. But here, I mean, if we're gonna do this big stars and scrubs thing, let's go Rahm. I think Rory's going to be a little bit too expensive. Try it. I don't know. Yeah, it's at 7,500. You'd have Kuchar and Clark. Does that fit? Yeah. But it's not really stars and scrubs ish. Yeah, it's exactly on the mark. So, there's a possible lineup. I was hoping to get a little bit more into there. So, I don't think, like I said, I don't know if Rory is the way to go with that. I think I'd more so comfortably go like a Homa or maybe a Victor. Keith Mitchell's at 8,000, so it'd be like you'd have Keith Mitchell and Tom Kim. Ian, I'm in love with that. Look at the analytics on Sung Jae. What's he doing compared to the field? Yeah. There's Will and 77. I mean, you know what? I'll throw him in just to say to throw him in, but use your whatever 7,700 player that you like. But Sung Jae, I was a little worried about Sung Jae coming into the tournament because he has never played the he's never played the Genesis all that well. Sung Jae, 94. So we'll take a look here. You can see in the past 5 years, he's been 1 for 4 in making the cut. So I was a little concerned with him coming in because he's just never played well here. For the week specifically, he's been middling. That's not fair. He's been good. He's been good at everything, but he hasn't been great at anything. He's also scrambled very, very well, and he's just not he's not a great around the green player. He's not terrible, he's not great. I want to go all the way back to the beginning of 2022. And just get a feel for Sung Jae. He is 11th in around the green, dating all the way back to the start of 2022. He is avoiding the bogeys. That is his thing. Well, P, thanks for jumping in chat. Appreciate it, bud. I look forward to watching that video of when Keith Mitchell almost killed you. But thanks for jumping in chat and hanging out with us a little bit on this Friday night. have a good rest of your weekend if I don't talk to you, and I will see you Sunday evening for the initial research show. Good luck with all your lineups and wagers that you've made. So have a good one, Pete. Appreciate it. But yeah, so Sung Jae, like he's been good. I don't know. He's never played the Genesis well. So now that he has made the cut, is he probably worth a look? Yeah. I mean, now that you've actually pointed him out, he's probably worth a look. So, if you want, insert him however you want in your weekend lineups. You can go to John Rahm, Sung Jae, Will Zalatoris, or in this, balanced or 3-9K look, if you will. In fact, if we tried to make a lineup that, again, I really like Detry. So if we try to go like Detry as the bottom, is there any way we could make like Keith Mitchell our fifth? That's going to be asking a lot. Is there a way we can do it? Like, I think Adam Scott should be better than what he's been, just due to the fact that if he's hitting this many greens, he should be putting it a little bit better than that. I'll throw in Adam Scott on this. This is an attempt at an ultra balanced lineup. I think that skill set would tend to help next week at the Honda, right? Yeah, absolutely. I think Sung Jae won the Honda. I think that's what his first PGA Tour win was. I think. Yeah, 2020. Yeah, it's a course layout that suits Sung Jae well, considering how difficult it is. So, I mean, there's a reason he is the favorite next week. Absolutely. So if we go like Adam Scott, again, we're getting into, let's see, Will Zalatoris, Sung Jae, what's this give us? 9,000, Victor. Like, there's a look at an ultra balanced team. And again, move around these pieces and prices how you want. Maybe if you don't want Detry, you're comfortable coming down a little bit further or using a different name at 7,200. If you don't want to use Adam Scott, maybe you come down to Kuchar. Like Terrell Hatton, I don't want any part of. His irons have been pretty bad. Look at the greens. They haven't been good. Adam Hadwin, the irons haven't been good, but he generally plays difficult well, hence why he's been avoiding the bogeys. It's surprising to see Hadwin do so well off the tee. I'll put him in that light shade of green like Keith Mitchell. Like, I don't know, Hadwin might be okay. Ricky's never been a very good POA putter, so this is at least in line with his career norm. He's hitting plenty of greens. He's not avoiding bogeys very well. So, I was off on Ricky a little bit coming into the week, especially since he was so good last week at Phoenix. Yeah, of course, AJ. That's what I'm here for. Love to help. I don't think I'm anywhere with Scotty Scheffler. The off the tee's been very, very good. The irons have been very, very good, but he's number one in sand saves. He's not exactly avoiding the bogeys as well as these other elite players like Colin Morikawa and Rory. I think Scheffler, I'll just put him in a light shade of green. I don't hate it, but I would much rather use Xander and Homa and Morikawa. I tell you, we haven't used Xander in the lineup yet. This will be the fifth kind of lineup shell, I guess. And then I'll stick around for any questions or whatever that anybody has, or any more specifics that people want to look at. But let's go Xander, Let's go. We can try this double 6K lineup. I don't know if I would really gravitate towards it because there's just not a lot that I like. Really. Like I said, I'm just going to use Hodges and Jaeger. You know, Jaeger's about the only one. I mean, I guess I suppose I could see an Aaron Rye, but I think Jaeger's just a much better play. Again, I'm going with Hodges. Schwab doesn't seem too terrible either, especially since he's avoided the bogeys very well. He's hit plenty of greens, and he's generally a good POA putter. Like, you know, now that I see that, I've used Hodges a couple times. Let's just use Schwab. But again, those are kind of interchangeable. We've got Xander, and we got 9K per player. So, you know, do with this what you will. It's let's see, Schwab, Jaeger. We've used Kuchar a bunch. Like, I'm just not anywhere near Hatton. I really don't trust the fact that Hoagie's been the 4th best POA putter, considering he's negative in his career on POA. So, Harris English. You want to talk about injuries? Harris English is coming off an injury. He's a little bit further removed from his injury, but still, he's still battling an injury. We've used Tagala and Detria. Like, I don't know. I think what you're trying to do in weekend golf specifically is find your right combination of 2 to 3, maybe 4 players if you're willing to drop down into these lower guys. I think this is the area of the price board that's going to be where you're wanting to find it, because really, to me, it's really Matt Kuchar alone in the mid 7s. I like these 3 in the low 7s. There's really not a lot in the 7s that I like. Ugh. Anyway, let's try to finish this lineup up. Let's go. You like the Hodges pick? Yeah. I mean, that was one of the things that is for as much bad advice as I can give in a week, and I can give some pretty bad advice. I feel pretty darn smart about throwing out the name Lee Hodges on Wednesday night for the week-long contests. And I have him in 2 lineups. I feel pretty good about that one. Now, don't get me wrong, I was really high on Hideki. I was really high on Matt Fitzpatrick, and I mentioned Joel Damon. Like, I have my incorrects. Don't let me, fool you into thinking I'm only ever right. I am wrong plenty, but I do feel pretty good about the Lee Hodges recommendation this week. Let's see, Xander, and again, 9,000 per. Depending on what you want to do with Adam Scott, I'm not in love with it, but I don't hate it because the POA putting. Let's see. Again, I mean, we've used Zalatoris a lot, but Will Zalatoris, if we go with the Ryder Cup duo, I mean, that's Tony Finau, if you feel comfortable with Tony. I don't. This is, again, the Victor Hovland / Sungjae. For this week, specifically, I would be more Victor Hovland, because Sungjae just has never played well here, but, I mean, he's been solid all the way around. But Victor has been very, very good on POA, and he's underperforming it quite a bit. And I believe in the ball striking much more than what the analytics are showing. So for this week, I would go with Victor, but I'll throw Sungjae in that lineup. So there's kind of the 5th and probably one of the final roster shells, I guess, if you're willing to do this double 6K. Yeah, Spieth. I was nowhere near Spieth this week. Spieth missed the cut. There were who else? Who else missed the cut? Like I said, Fitzpatrick, Spieth, Rose, Hideki. I'm sure a lot of people like Taylor Montgomery. I've been wary about Taylor Montgomery when it's difficult. Taylor Moore was probably pretty chalky. How chalky was Patrick Rogers, actually? Because Fantasy National projected him to be pretty darn chalky. Like, Keegan missed the cut. I did use Keegan a little bit. But, in fairness, I did say that eventually that putter is going to fall apart. And it did. So there's a miscut. Fitzpatrick's a miscut. There's Rogers, like 12, almost 13% missed cut. So yeah, you had Spieth. You had some guys there that hurting some lineups for sure. But I think the two biggest suggestions I've had this week that I'm very, very proud of: Thomas Detry and Lee Hodges. And Lee Hodges was like 1.13%, 1.14. Those are the two this week that I can set my hat on. To go with, the bad ones, to be fair, I had suggested Callum Tarrant. He finished last. I said take a look at Callum Tarrant if you're coming down into the low sixes. So obviously that one didn't work. But all right, KH Lee, big surprise me. Siwoo, Keegan. KH Lee, I could never nail down. I had pretty high hopes for him. I think it was at Phoenix or was it at American Express? And he didn't come through. So, I can just never nail down. There's a few players I can never nail down analytically. Cameron Champ, I have no idea. That dude's just an enigma. Andrew Landry, that dude is just an enigma. He'll just pop up and win. And KH Lee, no idea when he's going to do well. There's a couple others, but those three really, really just baffle me analytically because I have no idea how to approach them. And yet they will. Landry, not so much lately, but 2 to 3 years ago when he would win seemingly once a year, I'm actually going to go through here. So I had a win ticket on Hideki. That's clearly a miss. I have a win ticket on Wyndham Clark. Technically, it's still alive. He hasn't missed the cut yet, but that's a loss because he's 8,000 shots back. Champ is washed up, but that's the thing. You start thinking that, and then he'll come out of nowhere. Like when he won the I think it was the 3M that he won a little while. Was it maybe 2 years ago? He'll just come out of nowhere and win. See, like the Zozo, he was all these miscuts, 8th, and he miscuts. He's 6th in Mexico, 10th at the Masters. I wouldn't have picked Cameron Champ at the Masters. Yeah, it was the 3M. Granted, he gained 8.5 strokes that week on putting, which he never does, but I can never nail down this guy. Not a clue. Let's see. Thomas Detry, top 20. I have that, so that's looking promising. Okay. Not a guarantee. James Hahn, I think he missed the cut, which is surprising because he was 4 for 4 in making the cut at the Genesis in the past 5 years. I think he missed the cut. Clearly, Callum Tarrant's missing the cut. So 2 of my 3 top 20 wagers they were shit. They were just shit. It's a long time, and there are so many great young players I'd rather play. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Yeah, absolutely. That's why I can never just say I can cross somebody off. It's the never say never thing. But you're right. I mean, most of the time, Cameron Champ is in the triple digits in my rankings. For that reason, specifically, he just does not rate out well. Detry to remain unpopular? I don't know. I mean, the more people see him play, the more they're going to like. He's a pretty good player. I was pretty high on him coming into the year this year, so I took him in a couple of my season-long leagues. Let's see. Top 20 parlay, Finau, Hovland, Zalatoris. That's still alive. Top 10 parlay, Finau and JT. Technically still alive, but that doesn't look great. Top 10 parlay of Homa and Cantley looks great. So, not only am I doing okay, I can't say that. I'm doing well in DFS for the week. I am in between the break even and the double my money. I'm in between those two thresholds. So it's a positive week, but right now I got some outright wagers as well that are promising. Anybody else have any questions regarding weekend golf? AJ, I know you. Are you planning on playing round 3 showdown specifically? Because I know you joined the stream late. Are you playing round 3 showdown, or are you going to be sticking to weekend? Because if it's round 3, it's going to be a little bit different, I think. Just a little bit. P left. James, do you have anybody that you are wanting to see, or did I cover who you are thinking about? And of course, if anybody else is in chat, throw out names or lineup ideas, and I'll be more than happy to cover them. And again, apologies for the ice. That's just keep water cold. Oh, I got it. All right. And of course, if anyone wants to see more lineups, I can throw some together. But I generally try to give you 5 kind of shells, if you will, kind of my go-to of players that seem like their core, and then try to work off that, like a stars and scrubs-ish, a pure balance, and then work in between. Normally I would, but I probably won't since my bankroll is low and I want to play XFL. Good luck with that. I don't play regular fantasy football. I stick to my lane where I know I'm good. Golf and baseball is generally my best. A lot of it with fantasy football is I have a favorite team, so I'm going to have bias there. And while I have a favorite team in baseball, I am much more realistic, almost to the point of detrimental realistic with my favorite baseball team. So I'm much better, and I played baseball, all the way through college. So I know the sport much better than football. I'm just not very good at fantasy football. It just is what it is. So I stick to I let others have at it with that. Well, I appreciate the compliment there, AJ. I appreciate that. Just being a statistician, and along that thinking, I know my streams are pretty data intensive. I try to make it interesting. Sometimes it takes a little bit of laugh at myself to do that, but I'm okay with it. But hopefully the streams are interesting because I love talking about it. I love talking about stats and using a little bit of high level math to talk about sports that we all like. So thank you for the compliment. I really do appreciate that. And yeah, if you play MLB, I did a little bit of it last year. It got to be a little bit too much considering how detailed I get with it. So I think I have a little bit of a better plan this year to handle all the golf and baseball. And that'll be starting up here soon because pitchers and catchers have reported. So I'll be getting into that on some Friday nights as well. But I think that's going to wrap it up. I've been on for a couple hours. It's midnight in the Eastern time zone where I'm at. Feel free to reach out to me in the comments of this show or this video or social media. If you have any last minute questions, I will see those. I promise. I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. But if not, I hope that you all have the best of luck with all of your weekend contests. Let me know how they go. Again, I've got hopefully I have a lot of people to shout out Sunday evening for the initial research show for the Honda, especially if Max Homa wins. I'll have a lot of shout outs. But one of the best things I get out of this is shouting out members of the community who do well. And to know that I gave you anything, any kind of nugget of information, whether it's the smallest little thing, if I contributed to a successful week for you, that really, it makes my week. So, I appreciate it. AJ, P, James, everybody else who tunes in and watches, listens and supports by commenting, liking the videos, subscribing. I always appreciate it. I enjoy what I do, hence why I'm up to midnight, going through analytics and stuff. So thanks for all the support, everyone. Really appreciate it. And then for all of the weekend and round 3 and 4 showdown slate DFS contests that you enter this weekend for the Genesis Invitational, may all your bets be profitable. Until I see you next time.